believe my air trumps will take me to the sky. I think about them every time I put them on. As I'm going through the air with my air trumps, I believe I will soar. I believe these air trumps will get me where I'm looking for. I believe. Yeah, I had to start this off because the air trumps. Yeah, pump them up and you can fly too. I mean, really, really. Joe Biden having fried chicken, come and get it. What's up? And Donald Trump with his air trumps. I'm like, for real? Today we got a lot to talk about. Start off the day with that whole Puffy Fleece Johnson booty bandit thing. Oh Lord. Why does Diddy always come up in my early files? I turn over and he is doing his usual bandit stuff. I'm like, well, he ain't the only one. He's just the only one they want to talk about. But it was huge. Yeah, I saw that, and then I thought about the air trumps, and I'm thinking it's just, two of the most racist white boys are they one's trying to throw the chicken and the other one's trying to throw the shoes. I'm like, it's bad. I know. Yeah, but he ain't the only one. And I told you Clive Davis been behind it. And I know Usher knows some things too. Jennifer Lopez knows some things too. But ain't nobody gonna say nothing. See, I be telling people when I do my other segments, I told you, cheeks for checks, booty for the looty. People don't be jumping on it. Stuff has happening all the time. But see, now he banded up on some dude. Now they're gonna start to think he's a perv. hmm and it's been there. Um, you know, yeah, well, which so the shoes and the chicken, I'm like, it's so predictable. And then people wonder why I say that black folks don't really love one another because they will get excited about him having a chicken dinner with you and having excited about some shoes. They won't want no reparations. Massa can make you feel so good and so comfortable with the most mundane things. Get those shoes, those garbages. Mm. But yeah, the latest thing with Diddy is, and people know, people know, people know. It's like, well, I don't mess with none of that. In my last life, I did. I don't. In case I will share this, vegetarian, vegan, cook at home. Um, I don't knock people who eat stuff like that. You know, that's their choice. You come to me, I don't touch none of that mess. I don't trust most of that food they put out. I believe in healthier eating. I believe in taking care of yourself. I don't touch that stuff. I don't know where it come from. They quick to give you uh, a lot of that greasy stuff. I can't do it. But, to each in their own. But that's what they think of you, the most basic food, that's what they do. That's the selling point. So I am not shocked or surprised at all. These white dudes are so predictable. It's so heinous. It's really creepy. Come get your chicken. Come get your fried chicken. Come get your biscuits. Come get your gravy. Get your fruit punch. It's so cliche that it's not even funny. It really ain't. It's like, come get it. That's all you good for. I mean, and this is why I've been railing against both of them. I said these two Archie Bunker hating old white diaper wearing white boys, diapers wearing who hateful. And they figure they got to go run to black folk. They bring all these migrants, they got all these people, but they got to get the black folk. Let's appeal to black folks. Who is supporting this that you know? You know. Wait a minute, Jay-Z, because we passed that. So Jay-Z, put your shoes on. Play. Go to Starbucks and sit there. I mean, it's a shame. Uh, it's a shame. It's really a travesty, you know. But that's what goes on. So yeah, I got hit with the Diddy news this morning, and sure do. They sure do. Or the no beer. That's the new one now. You know that's the new one. The no beer. The no beer, but it's beer. What the heck is that? I don't know. It's like you just drain wheat and you put it in a glass and then you shake it out. I mean, what is that? You know, yeah, light beer for white folks and wine coolers for black folks. Yeah, go figure. But it just like, yeah, I don't understand it. I just don't. But that's what's going on. I touched on a lot of topics. I like what y'all said. I did. You saw I got it. Winnie the Pooh. If you drink beer, you should drink it. Don't be playing with it. That's true. Cause you know how hard you fought to drink something if that's what you want to consume, and you had to sneak it back in the day. So why would you just do like it wouldn't even be right if you're going to. If you're going to. Yeah, well, I was so mad, and I decided to make that like a little short one. But yeah, I was so upset. The more I thought about, he talking about that New York Detroit game, and now he trying to act like he a journalist. I said, look, if you ain't riding with LeBron, nobody care about your Winnie the Pooh cheeseburger eating self. You're not no journalist. Stop acting like you some first rate journalist. What school did you go to? Nobody care. You graduated from LeBron James High, okay? Keep it 100. I mean, really, you a puppet for LeBron, and you got hooked up. Oh yeah, I did my video today. You're gonna see it's coming up. I did about LeBron and Bronny because I don't do a lot of Bron James videos. I don't make it, but that whole thing with Bronny, he need to shut up. He really do. Yeah. Oh, when he go to Subway, he be the new Jared, huh? But he need to shut up about his son. I mean, I'm glad Bronny's alive, but he ain't NBA ready. He talked all that smack. The Lakers are 3 games over 500, crying about the free throw shooting, crying about this. Just always got something to cry about. You're not a good team. Excuse me. You can't be. Is oh yeah, we talk about everything. That's why I started off with singing, I believe, like air trumps and talking about Diddy, because people watch, and I cover all the stuff. Yeah, I had to talk about Diddy, old booty bandit, old Fleece Johnson, and I have to get. I was like, when I got hit with that this morning, I was like, oh God, I got to talk about that. And then Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, I saw that on Undisputed. I don't know. Before anyone asks me, well, Caleb Williams, I don't know. First of all, he's good. Does he look like Mahomes and Jackson? No, but can he be as good as? I don't know. Deshaun Watson looked like a beast. I don't know. Depends on who you get drafted by. Depends on the system, your head coach. I don't know. Don't ask. I mean, he has moments where he looks good, but it depends on where he get drafted. Depends on what kind of squad he got. If I'm a brother, I'm scared to go to the Chicago Bears. I'm just saying because they don't know about no offense. If you ain't a running back or a receiver, because Justin Fields ain't gonna get done right. He ain't bad. They just suck. They just don't do nothing with offense. Not the quarterback position. So yeah, you might not be alone. I mean, what I've seen quite a bit of him because I was on the West Coast, so I was watching him. And he was, but he wasn't blowing me away. You talking about NFL? If we talking NFL, because that's the only one, that's the only league I talk about. I don't talk about college, it's strictly NFL. If you're talking about the pros, it obviously starts with Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen. I want to watch Justin Herbert, but it seems kind of regressed. Obviously, Joe Burrow when he's playing. I want Deshaun Watson to come back, but I don't know if we're gonna get that. Trevor Lawrence, I'm still don't know. He's complicated. Jalen Hurts, I like to watch when he's consistent. I'm gonna give you a long blank when it comes to NFC, so don't look at me crazy. Jordan Love was starting to get interesting. He started to cook. He started to cook. I think you should be sold on him. I'm telling you, in 2 years, you should have won that game. You should have been playing Detroit in the NFC Championship. You should be. I mean, I understand because that last pick he threw, I get your trepidation because that was a bad pick at the end. They should have beat Frisco though. I'll put it to you like this: he looked a lot more on his way, and I like C.J. Stroud too. Tua is entertaining if they're playing up tempo football, but when he got us figure it out, no, no, no. So therefore, I can't put him. I want to, but no. Jordan Love in 2 years, I'm telling you, if this what I saw this postseason, he gonna be running things over there. I'm telling you. You have to listen to me, but you're gonna hear me. You're gonna remember what I said. 2 years. I give him 2 years. Because he's coming. Yeah, so-called black head coach they got, which I don't really talk about that often. He's so-called low-key black. Remember their coach? He's a low-key, light-skinned brother. That's what he claimed. That would have been a no-brainer. That's a duh. I tell Tua, look, I'll pay you to watch from the press box. Are you crazy? Tua or Lamar, are you crazy? Are you being for real? That's a no-brainer to me, but you gotta remember who the owner is. He a bigot too. Remember, Brian Flores got that lawsuit against that owner. So Trump again, not gonna happen. Especially when a black man took on his own paperwork, ain't gonna happen. I'm glad he wasn't. We may not have won the AFC East. We may not have come out. We may not have made the playoffs. If they put a 70 burger against Denver, what do you think Lamar would have done? Because Lamar put a 50 burger on Miami. So what would they have done to Denver that day? You don't want to know. Sean Payton probably would have been running for a blazer. And Russell Wilson would have been running for the old folks home. You don't want to know. Because Lamar busted some cheeks this year. He busted Miami. Y'all busted Miami and busted Detroit. Remember? People don't talk about that. Busted Cakes, busted Frisco. Please. Then to me, that showed the difference between Purdy being. That's why Cam Newton was 100 about what he said. Yeah. He doesn't have no offense. That's the thing. Lamar does not have the kind of offense he needs. And before somebody come running me about ODB, look, ODB is about 74 right now, okay? He ain't that dude that caught them one-hand balls. And that 2 years ago Super Bowl for the Rams, that may as well be 10. He's not the dude no more. Give him some real offense all the time. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he wins MVP with Baltimore. Imagine him with Miami. Think about that for a moment. He won MVP twice with Baltimore. Put him with Miami. Think about that. Because that's the only way he'll probably have a good chance at beating Mahomes. That's what I'm saying. But these teams is racist, yo. Belichick had a chance to get him too. And he'd rather be messing with mac and cheese and the never wases. That's what them two never was white boys. That's how racist it is. And he act like he liked Lamar, but I'm like, why didn't you make a move for him? Why? Why? I don't be understanding. If you don't want Lamar, you should go after Hudley. You should have made a move for somebody off the Ravens. One of them brothers should have gotten gone. Please. Yeah, they be tripping. I big on Lamar. Because if he was to go and win a Super Bowl with everything else he's got, he might be top 10 ever. If you factor in 2 league MVPs, wins a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP, might be top 10 ever. Hudley can do everything Purdy can do. Huntley got an arm. He can move. I seen him. I don't know if you remember that pass he threw in that Miami game, that last touchdown. That was a sick 26-yard pass. Why they don't come for him? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, because Purdy is just like Cam Newton said he is. And that's what Shannon Sharp got some white folks upset about when he said he's pocket, but he wasn't lying. Well, you win the Super Bowl, you got to be ready to pull everything out. How Brady had to come back against Atlanta in the second half, being down 28-3. You got to have that kind of intensity. That's how you build your legacy. Trying to be all cool in school? No. Settle this one for me. Some dude was trying to brag that Steve Young was close to Joe Montana, and I laughed. I said, look, Joe Montana is like Michael Jordan, and Steve Young is like Scottie Pippen. Need to make it stop. I know Young got a ring after Montana left. He was never on Joe Montana's level. Crack me up. I had to say it. I said, Steve Young is not no top 10 quarterback. Dude talking about he's in his top 5. I said, he ain't top. He might be after 15. I said, I can roll off 12, 15 quarterbacks before I take over him. Come on now. Cracks me up. But anyway. Yeah, Huntley was better. Huntley was better. But Miami, they soft. They got a coach who likes to, they soft. That's what's up. I'm not sold on them. Not at all. So, not at all. But they definitely did Lamar funny, and yeah, that's what's up. So, nothing I can't do about that. Anyway, but yeah, I touched on that today, and like I said, I touched about, excuse me, about LeBron and Bronny. I'm like, look, you need to let that go. He's not ready for the NBA. G League, he needs some work. I'm glad the kid's alive and he's doing well, but he ain't ready. So that's all. Yeah, he nice. He nice, and he could definitely be a good pickup. Just like Dobbs was a good pickup for Minnesota. Dobbs is all right. He just needs to be in a squad where he can run. I mean, shoot. Man, it all comes down to the system, the components, the parts you put. That's what it come down to. It ain't about that other stuff. That other stuff will figure it out for itself. Believe me, if they make who they want to be. They're not gonna touch him because I'm gonna tell you they racist. And the other thing is this: Josh Allen ain't gonna get talked down to. Ain't gonna get talked down to. What's up, Barrington? Ain't gonna get talked down to. He should be because he ain't done nothing to merit. Right on. What's up, Lamar? He ain't done nothing to merit. Uh, but he ain't. He ain't. He ain't. And they will find a way to kind of, they don't want that to happen to Josh. They want to protect him. But if I'm looking across the sideline and I got to see Patrick Mahomes again, and he's walking out with a finger full of rings, and I'm still on my daydreaming about my first. Depends on what coach we're talking about. I think the only thing that they always talk about they're going to do the betterment for the team and stuff like that. Very few come in and say that we suck and we got to get together. I miss when Jim Mora came out and said playoffs. We're talking playoffs. That was hilarious. That's the kind of coach you miss. You just don't get that no more because a lot of them are, politicians. So that, you know, um, that they're not telling the truth about they're doing it for the money. Like I know when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the last few years that he played, his record collection got burned in the fire. So he was trying to get some money. Trying to just tell the truth. That's about the money. Don't sit there and act like you're playing because you're gonna say for the love of the game, because your behind is not great no more. You're not changing the outcome of a game. That's what LeBron James is looking like right now. You're putting up great numbers, but your numbers don't translate to a great team. You're too old to be the best player on your team, and you can't, and you're just an in-play tournament team. That's not what you want to be at this stage. You wouldn't mind being the third best player on your team. Thank you, Ted. You wouldn't mind being the third best player on your team because you don't have to do as much. But you're sitting up there on this prolonged, like you somehow it's gonna revert. Yeah, you'll have games, you'll have moments, you even have people. It happened with Jordan with the Wizards. He had some out of body moments, he had some point, but then the legs gave out, and then the shot wouldn't drop. And then cats who couldn't even run up on him and block his shot or defend him suddenly get this and that. It's just not the way you want to see it. Get out while you ahead. Make them wonder. Now Brady, I can't say he played a year too long or not, because he did lose the Dallas that first round. But in his defense, he looked like he could have probably played another year, good enough to get his team through the post regular season. But was that good enough for him? Probably not. So, but he did enough what he had to do. He was an exception. So I wish people would stop thinking that, because most of them just, I'll be honest, that Aaron Rodgers freak act fall may have been sit your butt down. We'll see. So sometimes you got to know when to say when. You know, and when you exhausted all your energy. Kobe went about a couple years too long too. Shaq went about 4 years too long. Because then you just stat padding. And then, people not the same. So get out while you can. Don't make yourself into a joke. Because you're upset about then you be saying, well, remember, it's just like a music artist. Sometimes, your songs, your voice is shot, your music don't hit no more. Yes, taste things change. I remember that Deion Sanders situation, borderline, because Deion said that slavery is over. He's probably one of the key good old boys. And he, typical B socks, But other than that, I really don't take a lot of stock in Carlton Fisk. Because he never was much of a threat in the big picture. He, not much of a threat in the big picture. Oh yeah, by the way, if you get a chance, that Whitney Houston disses MTV. That's a video that a cat that I follow on the Facebook named Michael Dean, who does a Prince. He's got a Prince podcast. He dug up old Whitney Houston dissing MTV, and that was good. That was good because David Bowie gets all the love with it, but the Whitney one was good. She dissed him real good. I liked it. The star throw that out there, give a shout out on that one. That was a good one. Whitney's in my top 2 greatest female artists ever with Aretha. She's a standard for me. But yeah, she has a segment on there where they asked about MTV, and she said y'all only really play rock acts, and she said also y'all just show women being scantily clad. And she's like, I got an 8-year-old daughter, and can't have that up there. So she let it be known. Yeah, it's a good video. She talked about it. She went on. So check it out if you can. I mean that one, yeah. I hadn't saw that one. Really. And I usually follow a lot of stuff with Whitney because I bought her music. I most of her interviews. And she has spoken out on stuff, but yeah. Yeah, she was a game changer. One of the greatest voices ever. So but yeah, Carlton Fisk, that's all I gotta say about Carlton. So not a lot to say. Well, they both did, but in different ways. Whitney had to play the game that Clive Davis wanted her to, being the girl next door. And in case you don't remember, in the 1990 um, Black Music Awards, it was the, oh God, what was it? Was it BT? Was it one of BT Awards? One of them shows. Yeah, she got booed. Black folks booed her. That's before she got with Bobby. They thought she was we used to call them an Aunt Jane. That's what they used to call when you sold out. And so they booed her. So she got booed because they thought her music was too white sound the first couple records and too crossover and too happy. Diana Ross did. And she did it. However, she still was mean though. I mean, she was mean, you know. But I don't look at her as a sellout though. You know, I don't look at her as sold out. But I do look at her strange because she made a point of doing certain things, you know. That's part of the industry she was in. But she hasn't said anything that I would say that she sold out either. She had some actions. So, you know, there's actions. Great, great, great. Okay, this is a good one. I would say his ability to unflinch on the drive. I don't think people understand. Yeah, he could dunk and he'd get up, but he wasn't afraid of the contact. He would go straight to you. Because everybody know about the ankles out in the front and everything, but they don't give him his due for actually going to the hole. He really had a reckless abandonment, and he wasn't scared to get physical. So I give him his due. Um, I would say his recognition of sportsmanship, because even though he talked and mellowed a lot, like I remember when Karl Malone got his 30,000, he gave it up to him. He was always understanding of the game. That's why it makes him so hard to deal with. Well, he did give Jordan props for when he was with the Wizards, but um, his appreciation of the plays and games, he talked about a lot. He has understood that. I think that is underrated mental skill to acknowledge who he's playing against and give them their due. Because a lot of times hear all the bite and the bark, but they don't hear the humble side. So I will give him that. I will give him that. I would definitely give him that. Definitely. Well, so that's a great question. I'm gonna tell you why. If we go back 70s, 80s, 90s, even to the OOs, like I go all the way up to Lindsey Hunter in the OOs just to make it more contemporary. Guys like that had a position as a role player, so they come in, knock some shots down, or rebound, play defense, do different things. Um, Understanding, fill up a score stat sheet, and just do anything that you got to do to be positive. You know, it's not the same no more because there's no such thing as role players today. Because the players today all pretty much do the same. You ask different guys to do different things. Let me give you let me ask you this question since I got you about Mr. Reeves with the Lakers. Because I want to ask you, is Mr. Reeves that much better? Who white boy I want to pick on? I need to pick on a white boy. I gotta pick on him. Is Austin Reeves any better than Grayson Allen? I want to know that from you for first of all. But see, like you take Reeves, for instance, he was a role player. Now he's like a starter. See how they've been manipulated, guys? JJ Redick was a role player. Thank you. But didn't look like Grayson Allen the other night. Didn't look like Grayson was lighting their butt up. LeBron crying about them refs and all that. What about Grayson Allen? Well, you got like Grayson Allen out there just knocking threes down. But see, that's the thing. These cats today are like one and the same. Whereas 5, 10 years ago, JJ Redick could come out now. JJ Redick came out and said, in my day, I was a role player, and now they make these busted stars. I would have much respect for him. I could respect him telling the truth. Because these cats today who would be role players. Yeah, well, he lit their butt up Sunday. I was stunned. I didn't know he could do anything with his feet besides try to trip you up. Yeah, I said it because that's all he was known for. He was okay in Milwaukee, but yeah, he lit the Lakers butt up. Was shotting some threes. So I was like, okay. And he's the kind of white boy that they need. I think so too. I think so too. And they're gonna find out the hard way. Because Dame ain't gonna cover all them shoes. But they're gonna find out. They're gonna find out. They're gonna find out. Yeah, well, like I said, he's added to his repertoire. He's, you know, so he still keeps getting run. What does Jay Crawford got? Does he get Jay Crowder got like some video on somebody? Is the dreads? Is it like he got something hidden underneath his hair? Because I don't get it. He's managed to keep a gig, sits in that right side of the corner, makes that same old tired shot, and I'm like, why is he still getting this run? He ain't that memorable as a defensive player, and he's a one-trick pony as offensive player. So what's he done? I ain't lying. I seen him for years, just like standing in that corner, just that same old shot. Just I'm like, what is he doing? How does he keep getting run? I mean, just the way you said kept old Jay Crowder, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm lost for words. I am a loss for words. Now, look, I'm not no big Grayson Allen fan, but Grayson Allen compared to Jay Crowder, come on now. That don't even make no sense. I mean, but Crowder keeps a job, though. I'm sure when he retires, Doc Rivers will have him on the coaching staff. I'm just saying. You heard it here first. So yeah, I'm just so many guys I just don't understand how they keep getting hooked up. Don't even know. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I saw that. So he is kryptonite for Golden State, as he is pretty much against the Lakers. Um, the Golden State don't have to go against him. They got a chance to probably run up on some teams, but he's got like they are the Golden State of the now, bigger, strong, and he's like Steph, but as a center. I mean, I watched that and I'm like, and you're gonna tell me that y'all gonna still talk about Jason Tatum over this guy? Y'all gonna treat as I call Jokic, I call him ATM because what he does is make deposits and withdrawals. I mean, he just lights your butt up. They got no answer for that. They too light for Denver. Can't win it. And I told you, Jamal, if everybody's healthy, they're gonna come out the West. They're gonna win, and he's gonna get a back-to-back MVP, and he got a chance. Yep. But see, I know, and the LeBron is to say, well, like LeBron, but I'm saying this is the difference. He can shoot, and it ain't a lot of fanfare with him. It ain't a lot of fanfare. He just gets it done, and they work cohesively together. Jamal Murray remains the most underrated guard in the league. Just stays getting dissed. So so not a good look. Right now, I'm out of the country. What about yourself? Yeah. Glad you came through Newton, though. Okay. You born there and raised all your life? Maury is incredible for what he does. Maury is I like his style. Okay. So I'm in England right now, and I like it here. I do. I like the Maury pick and roll. But I do want to eventually in the future get to Africa. I do. I do. Uh Thinking about Ghana, thinking about the best possible way to get there. I do think about it. I think it's very important culturally, psychological, and spiritually, keeping that 100. They spoil, that they spoil rotten, that they don't have no risk, because they don't have to go through what you had through. If your moms or your pops used to wax your behind with cords and switches, like, well, that's how it was. I mean, you might be from the timeout era. It depends on where you're from. But your young'un come along and they get a slap on the wrist. You used to get smashed. You used to get smacked, toe up, beat up. That's the biggest pet peeve. And it's hard because it's like, wow, they pampering the ones. So I'm glad to have someone from the motherline and glad to see from Kenya. I appreciate that, man. That really made my day too. Oh yeah. Okay. Well then yeah, okay. Okay. I have to ask because there's okay. I have to because the timeout era. So I got a buddy that's in his 30s and he came up from his brother got the timeout era. His brother's in his 20s. So he got the timeout era. So if you hear about anybody who's getting their behind tore up in the OOs, let me know. Because usually there's a cutoff. You start getting the CPS calls. So yeah. But if you were born in 90, you probably still got a belt. But if you're born in the OOs, probably not so much. I have to find out because I haven't had anyone from that particular age come through, and I have to ask them because I have encountered some 20 somethings and they don't know what a switch in the belt's like. They don't even wear it around their on their pants, let alone on their behind. So what you expect? Just saying. You said even girls got the belt. Oh yeah, that's old school right there. Ain't nobody exempt. Nobody exempt. That's cool. At least there was no, used to crack me when somebody talk about this gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. Not quite. Now when your behind is sore and then you draw some hot water and you gotta take a hot bath after it, and I'm hurting. It ain't the same. Okay. Hmm. It was like that growing up. It was like that growing up. It was like that growing up because I don't know, I mean, I saw it growing up like that, you know. I did go to school with some Mexican girls and they used to boast and brag. They wanted to get the belt so to get it over with. But, you know, and they would get slapped by their pops. They get slapped. But getting the belt is a different animal. Getting the belt or a switch is a different animal. So everybody can't take that belt. Belt be scaring you. But I don't want getting grounded for 30 days either. You know. Oh yeah, and you get slapped. my grandma, my aunt, them old school hands be coming at you like they Joe Frazier. Get that Will Smith. What you say? What you say? And be like about that tall, and you be like that tall, and bring your behind over here. Knock a tree down. Pimp slap you. Like, wait a minute. You supposed to be a nice old church lady. You hit me like you super fly. Like the Mac up in here. Yup. 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 You wouldn't see outside. It'd be the worst too. Days be long. People run all by your window looking all sad. People be all sheepish. Sure hope you get out of jail soon. It wasn't no joke. People don't understand. Shh. You got grounded for real. And you had a sore behind. And you had to make some good grades too. It's like you was, you know. Nah, I ain't I didn't want too much punishment. I was hoping that the whoopings would be lenient. Wasn't no leniency. So if you get whipped, get grounded, just don't say nothing, suck it up, and then just let one day lead to the next. I didn't say no more. 'Cause my grandmother had hands. I wasn't gonna say nothing. You bet they talking about, I'm gonna run away. It's like I help you pack your bags. Then you just like fall back. So nah, I ain't do nothing extra. Mm-mm. I had to go without too much stuff. And my mama one time was like Aquaman. Let me tell you a story. One time I was grounded in trouble and I turned the TV on because I think I was watching the Brady Bunch. And you can't really see the TV. Uh the blinds were closed, but the beam of the light. And she coming at about, did you have that TV on? So you gonna get grounded another week. I was like, oh God. Eyesight was too good. Eyesight was too good. I think I am doomed. So that's what's up. Eyesight was too good. You know, wasn't trying to be getting into too much more than I had to. I had more than enough issues. Way too many. And then you eventually want to see your friends and you be like, just go to school and come back would be. I had one time when she did forget though. I ain't do no snitching. No, no, no. I only time I did something with a cousin is because there was a magazine or something, and I did like I said something one time about that, but nothing that would get no belt. Never enough for no belt. No, I never put that out like that. Mm-mm. No. See, because I'm gonna tell you something. I had male and female cousins, and some of my female cousins would kick your behind. No, I ain't tell. I didn't tell. It was what happened was what happened was it was something that I got showed, and so it came out like that because it was a one time thing. But it wasn't like what you think, and it didn't result in any. It didn't result in no whippings. It didn't result any. It just was a cold look, but it wasn't like nothing like that. And so I didn't get into that. Nothing like that. Actually, be honest with you, I took the heat more often than not because I just would shut up. And actually, there was a time one of my cousins did something, and I ended up catching the. I caught the flames. Didn't say a word, so no, I wasn't snitching. And I had a female cousin gave me that look like if you say something. So I was like, I wasn't. And if you saw her right, she was a dime. It smelled good too, but she put some bones on you. So no, I didn't do no telling. No. Well, there's some rough ones. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Snitching wasn't too good for me. I learned early on not to because I got into it with a girl when I was a kid, told teacher on her, and she got mad with me and she pushed me in some water. I had a white outfit and I was with my grandparents the whole weekend. I was about 5 or 6, and I had to wear that the whole weekend because of that girl. So I didn't do no snitching to that. So, it just didn't pay. That's why they used to say snitches get stitches. So it didn't pay. Mm-mm. So I tended to not, sometimes you got to take one for the team. Um, I think the problem I have with them is that they get inebriated, and well, no, I haven't really seen anyone too rude toward reporters. The only person you could ever make a argument about was probably Deion Sanders when he threw that water at Tim McCarver, but he wasn't drunk. Um, they just do, they just say stuff where they either say something vulgar or something and it gets a sound bite, but and it gets loud. But again, people expect that though. They expect that. I just think that if you win and you share celebrating with that stuff, if you're gonna drink, you should put it to better use than just spraying it on your head or drinking like that in that moment, because you're inebriated. And actually, to be honest with you, it was pretty bad when Tom Brady did it when they had the quarantine in Tampa when he threw the trophy on the boat. He was blitzed. That was not a good look. So yeah, it was not a good look because he could have thrown the trophy and himself in the water. So I just don't, again. Yeah, he took off his shirt. I cracked up. But it wasn't a good scene, though, how that scene turned out, though, because what should have been a celebration with all the shooting was not good. So I think next time they do it, there'll probably be some more caution. But the best celebration I ever saw, he might, he got a good chance. The best celebration I saw though was Steph Curry's because when he had every trophy he ever won up on the float was hilarious. I thought you really knew this was big. Yeah, he got a chance to get number 3 if they pick up a Mike Evans or Devontae Adams and they keep Jones on defense and the guys get some seasoning, they got a chance to. Mm, probably I saw the Pistons, if I'm honest. Isaiah Thomas starts singing "Heaven Must Be Like." They start singing those higher players. That's when you know Zeke was a brother for real. I had never seen another black cat who put such a song that you wouldn't expect, and he started singing that. Well, because he was doing that stupid dance. Um, Even though it was sad, I thought when Jordan won his fourth chip and he was on the floor in Chicago Stadium, that was very moving. Shaq when he won his first chip was very moving. Um, In fact, him and Kobe after 3P with the jackets was tight. Um, Kareem coming up big in '85 and against the Celtics, and it was very important. I don't. I want to see that because that novelty. See, there was a time when I would think like that, but then those cats who end up becoming presidents and general managers of your team. So no thanks, because the joke should have stopped. I know you are, and you missed out on Kurt Rambis. You just caught the other part. See, I was in the same boat before you got the Madsen part. I caught the Rambis and the Madsen part. Surprisingly, they didn't hook Mark Madsen up with nothing, but Kurt Rambis was more than enough. Believe me. You don't want to see that happen again. You don't. You wouldn't want to see Sasha Vujacic get hooked up calling shots for y'all. Just take my word on it. You really wouldn't. Because of all the people associated with the Lakers, Kurt Rambis got more juice. Well, it happened. It happened. I mean, if you Joe was a good role player, especially when he scrimmaged. So, he fit for what it was. That's how it was. Eddie Curry never was. He should have been bigger. And Greg Oden was just old. But, you know, because again, you're going to go with trial and error. Yeah. And you know what? No one would say nothing if he shut up and went quietly and didn't make a big stink. I have a problem with him because he was a never was. I'm like, how the heck you gonna say anything? You need to be giving that money back to the Phoenix Suns. You stole their money. You sucked and you stole their money. And you got the audacity to be on this whack tour. What you gonna talk about? Oh yeah. I want the Luke Walton alternative world where Michael Jordan was throwing him alley oops and he hung on the rim against Alonzo Mourning. He hung on the rim against Shaq or against Rick Smith, Patrick Ewing. I want that. Well, it depends on who you consider a scrub on those Celtic teams, but they were a well-oiled ran team. See, it's a little bit harder to call teams back then with scrubs because you had to be really good. There wasn't as many teams, and the elite were the elite, so you had to be ready. No, you had to be ready. So, you know, yeah, and he was good too. He was great. He had a nice shot. He was a very talented player. You're not going to get a lot of talk about him, but he was great. He was considered one of the 50 greatest. Case he could play. You know, there's some footage on him too. He had a nice shot. Him and Sam Jones. They weren't related. They were some bad boys. You know. Now, granted, you could sit here and say that Russell played with a stacked team, and that's just how it was. But those guys were great. but it was Russell who led the team though. So favorite NBA post passing of all time. Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Elijah one, Jokic, um, David Robinson, Arvidas Sabonis. Let's see what's that pick on. Um, I would say if he got to do more, Lopez, because he can pass that rock. Only thing I'm going to tell you is as a coach, because I'm not going to say anything as a player. As a coach, his underrated skill was his technique. So like when he was coaching the Steelers and they hit Dan Marino on the legs, he always knew how to. He was doing things from a technical standpoint before they implemented rules in the NFL. So I thought that was one of the best things that he did. He was like a forerunner for that. He was a very strategic, smart, smooth operator with stuff. I think his ability to engage in other details of the game because like he wasn't even a mover, but when Switzer came along, he enabled himself to run a little bit. He added little things to his repertoire. He added how he enhanced his passes. So he did those little things that fundamentally made him a better player, and he used those to his betterment. I didn't even know about. Yeah, yeah. Aikman was, he obviously got poised and definitely added to his repertoire skill set. So I thought that was impressive that, he moved in he choreographed his steps. He wasn't, but he made enough to make himself into um, what he had to do. So, well, I see Philly, Green Bay. I got to think about it. Reggie can't really say nothing. He always pretty much understood his assignment. You know, in Philly, he was machismo more, and obviously you weren't, the people trying to one him up. When he got to Green Bay, they doubled, but he stayed consistent. I don't think, like I said, I don't think there was anything with Reggie White that I would say was anything. But I lost train of thought. But yeah, depends on what corner we're talking about. It depends, because when you say that, that's kind of like an open attack. But I got to know exactly who, because see, back in the day, you were going against speed, and then you're going to make attack. Today, you're playing in prevent D, so it's hard to say which era we're talking about, the player, the situation, because it calls for different case scenarios. It's not the same. So so that's all I gotta say about that. Well, it's not the way you once remembered it. I mean, heck, to be honest with you, I miss the days when guys would run off down the court and put it in. Because nowadays, if it's a fast break and it's 4-1, some turkey gonna go behind the line and shoot a three. So that's a lost art in itself. I appreciate you for mentioning it, but it's a lost art today. They don't even do that no more, hardly ever. Uh, Guys used to do that to get some quick points, but again, it's a lost art. And see, now guys go to do that and guys get fouled and hit. That's the only time defenses get physical. So I'm like, why would you waste your time? You're not playing defense, no way. I'm supposed to believe that somebody like the Detroit Pistons, who don't even have a legit second tier player, are somehow able to put 110 points a game up on you. Come on now. So, so that's how I look at that. It's not the same like it once meant. There's still guys who do it, but everybody's shooting that three ball. So, you know, they're not running down just to put up a layup or, a dunk. They, you know, yeah. 80% NBA pet peeve is a lack of heart and soul in the game. Long story short, it just feels like cats go through the motions. And so when people have gripes about the NBA All-Star game and then they look at the games, what is the difference? I don't see no difference. That's my pet peeve. There is not a whole lot of difference. If these guys will give up 200 plus in a All-Star game, they're getting up 100 plus in a regular season game. There's no control over it. So that's what I would say right there. That's my biggest pet peeve. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of heart in the game, you know. And there is no ambassador. Now I'm not even, I told you before Paul Pierce be running mouth, but he actually right. There's no ambassador for the game. I mean, LeBron, Steph, Durant, Kawhi, Gary Payton comes to mind. Tony Allen's one of them. Bruce Bowen was one of them. Jordan was one of them. Dwayne Wade was one of them. Uh, who else would I pick on? I say Dennis Johnson. Um, Joe Dumars. Mm, I think that's I pick on. Um, let's see what's got to pick on. Stockton. Stockton, because he had handle, he could steal that rock. I'm good. What's happening? What's happening, RT? How you living? Good to have you come through. Glad to have you. I like Mookie. You're one of the few people that bring up Mookie. And the trip out thing is the Hawks used to go to the second round every year. They just didn't have enough to get through with the Bulls and stuff. But Mookie was good. In fact, Pearl Jam, when they first came out back in the 90s, they did a show and they called themselves the Mookie Blaylocks. I'll never forget that little tribute. That was funny. Glad to have you through, RT. Glad to have you come through. If you got any questions, feel free. I didn't touched on a lot of topics today. I mean, obviously we talk about sports, we talk about news, politics, talked about Puffy earlier, football, baseball. I hate to call him a bust because he just got hurt with Sam Bowie. It's a shame because he was tall like Wimby. He could shoot. He looked great in Kentucky as a kid. It just didn't turn on the NBA. and that's the one of the guys, you know. And I hate to say another guy because he did play, but he got white ball was Michael Ray Richardson. He got sent to Italy, and because he did drugs. Cat was bad. Probably. Uh, he didn't make it to the NFL. I wanted to say Pat White, you know. But Ryan Leaf, because he was like Drew Brees. I mean, not Bledsoe. He was like Bledsoe, big, tall white boy out of Washington State. And Leaf had all the it looked like he was gonna be like Elway meets Bledsoe, and it didn't come to pass. I know you're gonna ask me about Jamarcus Russell, and he was a big boy, eat all the Twinkies up, but I wasn't really feeling like he was like that. And the jury's out on Deshaun Watson. I hate to say it. We gotta wait and see how the next. I never thought that. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when he was in college, he used to do them little dink and dunk shots, throw them up. I never thought he was gonna amount to much in NFL. I didn't like his passing approach. I didn't think he was gonna be much. And I told you John Fox should have an award named after him because how they won 10, 11 games in a row with Denver is still mind blowing to me because he couldn't throw. I mean, he just was putrid, you know. So I never thought he was going to be much. I wasn't lying either. Just didn't see it. Yeah, but I'm glad you came through, RT. Yeah, like I said before, we talk about a lot about everything. We didn't talked about, sometimes we get into some political discussions, we get into musical discussions, we get in, it all depends on what's going on. Because if you're still on earlier, I was talking about the Puffy, the latest suit and stuff, and I'm thinking I got sent a story this morning. I'm like, oh, not this again, not him, not that again. And of course, Beyonce song went number one, the Texas Hold'em. Yeah, yeah, you know, you know, it's so much politics going on. Just for the record, I get tired of talking about Beyonce like I get tired of talking about LeBron James. So I'm an equal opportunist with that. And sometimes, but those stories come up, so I address them. She is. She's got that Lonnie Anderson wig on her head, WKRP in Cincinnati. She and Jay-Z crying because Taylor Swift got album of the year, and it's like you got 32 awards. You got more awards than anybody. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You got more career awards than Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston put together. Yeah. Well, Drake. See, Drake's thing is this. He don't claim nothing. He's Drake. He's not. He's not black or white. I don't know what what he be doing. He's got crossover appeal. You know. He's very delusional cat, but audiences don't care though. And that's the thing. If you halfway get what they want, they'll look the other way. So, but yeah, we like I said before, we touch on a lot of different topics. Okay, this is gonna be good, especially. He was a chameleon. You didn't know where he was gonna roll, and sometimes he had to do it to survive. When he got out of prison, he was on death row with Suge Knight and him. He acted like a whole complete different dude than it was with the Me Against the World. I remember that was right before you, yeah, right before you probably was aware of how his impact. He was like a chameleon. You just didn't know what you're going to get with him, and sometimes it would bug you because he said a lot of things on one hand, and then he did a lot of other things on the other. And I really believe he had to die to get free. Sad to say. So I will address that. Pac portrayed himself pro-black, and he had a black aesthetic. Um, Biggie too. Um, I never felt like they were Tommen or nothing. They happened to work with the music that sampled songs, and they had to do whatever it took, and they said over that. Pac was more of a connoisseur, if you will, of pop culture. So, and like you'd see him on MTV. Okay, if you're going to use him hanging out with Tabitha Sawyer, who's one of the most whitest girls you can ever imagine, you're going to look up the video, and him and her were cool. But he was kind of like all over the place. Biggie, um, was a, gotta remember his mama raised him as a prep boy. So, um, I'm gonna address that in just a little bit. His mom raised him up preppy because his mother was a educator. So he took on the facade, but Biggie had hood in him, but he was more of a, cleaner cat. It's just that them streets. Buster is a buck, and Buster is also for the buck. Okay, you do something strange for the change. So anything with Buster goes. Can't quite say that about Biggie because he, whatever went on, but Buster's a different animal. And yeah, as far as 50, yeah. Well, so back in 99, he had this big song called How to Rob, which I used to like. And he dissed all these industry folks. But no one was messing with him until he got with him and then got with Dre. So he was just kind of like a free agent sitting there and no one would mess with him. So when he does all these hood shows that he puts out and all the stuff he does, that definitely is Buck Dancer vibes because he's a one trick pony ride. And I don't feel nothing where he's concerned. And he did. He did. He did. But they got him for dirt cheap at the time when they blew him up. He did what he do because that's how that industry works. Remember, no one was sweating him before he got with Dre and Eminem. No one was sweating him. They weren't gonna pay him no fees, so he did what he did. That's one thing you understand about that business. That business is a different situation because cats don't have a lot of leeway. It's like a sponsor, you know. So great question. Great, 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 great. Thank you, Lamar. Yeah. Jimi Hendrix, Wes Montgomery, George Benson, Ernie Isley, um, Earl Cluth. I'm glad you asked me this because I long for these. I like Steve Howe, Nile Rodgers. I like Eddie Van Halen, Steve Lukather of Total because I loved his solos, different parts he played. Lee Ritenour. Um, let's see what's gonna happen. There's a lot of them. A lot of them. Ray Parker Jr. has some great session work. Larry Carlton. Um, Sugarfoot from the Ohio Players. Well, okay. Now you okay, you getting warm now. Duke Ellington was my first love into jazz. The first. Because our aunt lived in Brooklyn, New York, and hearing the A Train was nothing like it. Miles Davis, Nat King Cole, Count Basie, John Coltrane, Donald Byrd, the Crusaders, the whole band, and Joe Sample, who died 10 years ago, my favorite keyboard player. Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Return to Forever. Liked Art Blakely and the Jazz Messengers, the whole Marcellus family, Ellis the father, Branford Winton, Ella Fitzgerald, Carmen McRae, Benny Goodman, because my grandfather was into clarinet. That's what got me into that. So Goodman was something else. Roy Ayers. So I like jazz funk. Weather Report. Bobby Humphreys, one of the greatest flute players ever. Kenny Burrell. Stanley Jordan. Well, that's just off the top of my head. There's a lot. And I do love, like I said, I like a lot. Grover Washington Jr. Um, favorite 90s comedies. You talking about like TV shows, comedians? If you talking about TV shows, because like I used to watch Def Comedy Jam, and that had everybody on there. And your mama would not let you watch that. They were something else back then. Oh, they used to get it. They used to get it. Russell Simmons had that show. It used to be, they lit people's butts up. That's when Martin Lawrence was fresh. That's when Cedric was fresh. That's when Steve Harvey was fresh. That's when Bernie Mac was fresh. And Robin Harris had passed right before I getting on there, but he was back. But yeah, that was the real era. I mean, they were raw, they were funny. They had people. Marsha Warfield was on there too. Wanda Sykes was on there, and Chris Rock, Chris Tucker, Eddie Griffin, all of them were on there. D.L. Hughley was on there too. That's why when Cat Williams was coming out at people, I'm like, yo, by you coming at been around 30 plus years, won't you pick on somebody that you could say that, that because they all pay dues. So they all pay dues. Oh God, let's see. No. How he buck danced when he was in a slow chase and he had the white folks waiting for him to drive slow. And he went back home. And AC County said, look, I got him back here and we're gonna go home. That's not no. Lenny in the 90s. Well, you could make a case where he just got through saying that he wasn't invited to no black award shows. Uh his whole aesthetic would be considered bucking. Mariah was playing like she was white. She tried to early in her career. Um, Michael's moments was probably him pushing certain agendas, which and again, it's not about he necessarily who he was with, because see, Michael was always a brother to me, even though about his issues with his skin and things he did, but he was always a brother in the sense that I knew that underneath everything he was doing, I never thought he was timing or nothing like that. But he did try to push the thing with Lisa Marie when at the award show, which was, you know, and he didn't really have to. He didn't have to. In the 90s with Eddie, or just in general? I think when he downplayed his impact as a black comedian, I think what he tried to, because like he came up with that whack movie last year. Guess who's coming? Like the him and Neil Long did that movie, and uh, 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 what's that white boy from Make Love? The one that's behind it. He gets all those kind of same white boy roles. But anyway, he was like the love interest of Eddie Murphy's daughter in the movie. But anyway, it's kind of like a lot of cliche stuff that Eddie you would think would be past that, and stuff that he never would have done in his prime. So I do kind of look at him cross with that. The Rock is because he's a corporate brother with a tan. So, you know. So it's kind of like you can say it, but then he's kind of like where he's at, you know. He crossed over. But I don't think he necessarily shuffled. I think they picked him. Well, he if he keep getting them girls drunk, sometimes I watch that cat Storm and Road. And he was talking about Cuba Good and Juju. He's talking about how Cuba be bumping on them white girls and at them parties and like he's hanging out with Puffy. Yeah, I mean, it's listen, you got money, you go somewhere, they'll follow you, they'll find you. You ain't gotta be caught up in these situations where you're doing stupid stuff like a cat that just got to Hollywood or just, got to a first party. They'll give you what you want, you know. But he should have been had his wake up call. I mean, he saw firsthand how the industry was with his father. The main ingredients had, some big hits, but they weren't giving him the love. So I mean, it's like, yo, and you an actor, but you got a token Oscar, but you can't get no other roles, you know. And no one really gonna sweat you because you're not leading man material. Your brother actually has stronger chops, but he's only gonna play a meaty role, So it's a mess though. It's a mess. So well, she all sold out a long time ago. We don't talk about her. I mean, she's kind of like the Candace Owens. And there's oh God, who's out right now that's even worse? Um, Tiffany Hardish. I haven't done that video about Tiffany Hardish going to Israel for love, but they always got one that's got a one up. Stacey is full of it. Damon Dash had to get asked about his cousin. She's full of it. And I was so embarrassing about her. She got the nerve to badmouth black folks. But all her movies are black movies that come on after 2 in the morning. She can't get no white love. And her husband flipped on her too. Yeah, yeah. But Haddish really took it to another level. She told me she going to Israel for love and all that. She really flipped. Markle is in a very peculiar situation with Henry, with Harry. Very peculiar. Because there's still some uncertainty. Because he's batting a lot of things his own self, so that's what's up. But you're gonna find a lot of that in the business. I think he means well, and he is torn because his family turned on him. But he did put himself in a bad situation. You can't call your family racist and then expect to get the cookout. You can't expect to get that love. They're not gonna sit there and say, "Oh, okay, you called us racist, but we still love you." That's not how it works. So he he finding out some things that ain't how it go. That ain't how it go. So he messed up. But I mean, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. They are racist, and that stuff needs to be exposed. But he can't. You can't tap dance between both. No, they're not. And see, his kids is light complected like a Oreo, like the Oreo part of the cookie. They up there making it look like his kid look like Seal's kids. Remember the singer Seal, "Kiss from a Rose"? That's what making it sound like the baby looked like he was baby Seal or something. And if that ain't racist, I don't know what is. But he's in the catch 22. Because to me, they killed off his mother and he's got some money to collect. There's a lot of craziness there. So that's what. So there's his brother, the Black Conscious. It's a, oh God, I can't think of it. It's on YouTube. And it was talking about LA in the 60s. And the video talk about how black people from LA didn't want Southern black folks because they thought they were a downgrade and all that. So I said, yeah, that's why we don't get nowhere now in this country to this day. That's why we don't go nowhere because we still are doing that. And Kat got upset with me, and I said, well, let me say something. What's the difference between being a rich N word? What's the difference between being rich, middle, or broke black man? You still the N word. I know she did. I know she did. Because she was trying to put on the show. And they don't never going to accept you. And your words are 100% because that's why they out in California now. Live there. You know. People don't hear you when you call them out for what the situation is like. You know. So yeah. Oh, by the way, I didn't hear anything about Hulk Hogan dying or nothing. That was I don't know where that came from. He's 70, by the way, but he's not in good health though. I mean, I heard he had some lots of surgeries and stuff, so I just want to pass that out. But nothing about Hogan. So because his name came up in these chats and heard nothing about him. Yes, she was. She wanted to appeal. So there again, that's what you're dealing with. So well again, this is gonna be back in the day. So I'd say I gotta think about the Tar Heels. Because Perkins Worthy. Trying to think who was playing it. I'd probably say I want to say Elvin Hayes. Well, I can't remember if he was a power forward back then. Tim Duncan, but I gotta remember he was a power forward. And he wasn't that distinctive at Wake Forest quite like that. Um, hmm. Come back on that one. Oh, theme songs? Beretta. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Sammy Davis Jr. tore that one up. I like the Love Boat, believe it or not. Mike Hammer, Dallas theme song, The Jeffersons, Good Times, Sanford and Son is probably my favorite. Benny Hill TV theme song, Maud, Donny Hathaway tore that joint up. I like a lot of the 70s. Bob James, jazz musician who I like a lot, did Taxi. Like that one a lot. Um, Knots Landing TV theme song. Uh, Dynasty, I like the orchestration of that. The Young and the Restless, because that's very distinctive TV theme song. Hill Street Blues. um, Sparks with Miguel Nunez, and also that's where Robin Givens was on it, and Terrence Howard, and Uncle Phil was on it too. Like that theme song, Billy Preston tore that joint up. That's underrated. Welcome Back, Carter. A lot of old school TV theme songs. Courtship of Eddie's Father. Brady Bunch for novelty's sake. Fat Albert in the Game was funky. Love that TV theme. Soul Train. The one with O'Brien from 83 is probably my all time favorite Soul Train one. But I like Soul Train theme songs. Good question, Lamar. I like that. College basketball power forwards all time. I'm still kind of thinking. It's just kind of like going through my head. Because there's some guys that come to mind. Who am I missing? Who am I not thinking about? Because I'm basically thinking from back in the day. So, hmm. Yeah, I don't think. Who do I want to pick on? Hmm. Why am I stuck on fours? Because most of them played for UCLA back in the 70s, if I'm honest. And I'd be hard pressed. I would be kind of hard pressed to, you know. What we got? Oh, I missed this right here, too. Sorry about that. California, white, black is tough. Hispanics don't care about us, but love white. What black is tough? Okay, appreciate the tip. I didn't see that one because I have to jump and forth between the bars to see messages because sometimes they're not coming up. That is true. That is true. The Hispanic community, it's a very odd relationship and dynamic. On one hand, they identify with us in the struggle and have African roots in their blood, but don't tell them I said that because they don't want to acknowledge that part of their roots. But they use what we do and then they get white. And then they get, you know, and then they get mad when someone calls them out on it. But it's a fact. So yes, I grew up with that situation too. I lived in Texas, and it is true what you're saying. It is true. It's true. I gotta find me some help with this one because I can't. I'm stumped right now. See what I got. Let me see what I can do. Okay. Somebody want to look at. Hmm. I didn't even really kick that thing with the college power forwards. I'm still kind of was stumped with that. So you're gonna have to give me a hand on that one. I really have to go back in time and think about that. Who would I pick on? That is really tough. It's like I just got stumped with that. But if you want to throw some names at me, feel free. Amazingly, I got stumped with that though. Feel kind of funny that I did though. Sometimes things be kind of slow. Trying to get these questions right. So, what did you think about LeBron and Bronny, or LeBron crying about not getting free throws? That's funny. And steals a game from got the audacity to steal the game from Phoenix and then turn around and crying about, oh, I'm not getting no free throws. Yeah, I don't know what's happened, but I did address that with the. Just waiting to see the questions. I don't know what's happened. Sometimes the questions come up, and I was a little bit late with getting that one. I guess if Derek Coleman was a power forward at the time, I have to think back in time because that's the ones that come to mind. Again, most of them guys are going to be the ones that I like way back machine. And most of the best power forwards I've seen recently, Karl Malone's college career wasn't that distinctive, but he was great. Obviously, in the NBA, Kevin Garnett didn't play in it. Dirk came overseas. Duncan didn't really blow me away in Wake Forest. See, so those things is kind of interesting when you think about it. Okay, so what we got? Still stuck on the two, so just waiting to see if we want to come through with anything else. I'm not seeing any new questions. I just stuck with the favorite TV themes. You know. Okay. Nah, I wasn't gonna say that. I don't want to. Nah, I'm not gonna touch that. No. I try to. I don't. I'm not a prude, but I don't. I'm not vulgar, and I definitely don't think that I want to look at a woman like that in that capacity. She's an attractive woman and stuff, but I don't want to. No, 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 no. You know, I like to keep it classy. You know, she's a charismatic and attractive woman, etc. But she doesn't, and I respect her charisma on stage, and she's got a handful of songs I like, but she doesn't do a lot for me that, you know, so no. But those are what you feel, so that's on you. I'm not gonna, no. So anyway, but if y'all got something y'all want to talk about, we can talk about it. She did come up with the she had a country, she was the first black female singer to have a country song debut, go number one, even though I think that's a bit of a much because I think Mickey Guyton Mickey Guyton is a better artist in country, but country is for anybody. So, mm, mm, okay, so I don't know what happened, everybody. The last thing was that Beyonce thing, so I'm not gonna address that. So we'll see if people come through. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'll give it a couple more minutes to see if anybody comes through. If not, I will sign off because I've been waiting for like 15 minutes. I got one reply. It looks like people didn't kind of subsided for the night. But it was pretty good. I heard from some had some great feedback from different people, and glad to hear from somebody from the motherland come through. That was great. Interesting coming through, conversating. Um, Great to chop it up about different topics. Like I said, today was crazy. It's a lot going on. Every day is always something going on. And one thing I like to do on this forum is cover as many bases. If people come through and want to talk about it, again, I'm going to be tasteful because I don't really like, I'm not going to say anything. I will say stuff, but not use certain terminology. So just so you know, I just don't go there. But I like to be respectful and resourceful. Appreciate always all the feedback. It's always cool to people that's got stuff to really say, want to converse, um, and you know, keep it friendly, keep it fair, keep it balanced. So I'll give it a couple more minutes. So I will stick on for just a couple more minutes, see what we got. And if nobody doesn't come through, then I'm gonna call it a night. I did do looking up for the Hulk Hogan thing when we talked last night. There was nothing on him. He had been sick, but nothing about passing. So I hadn't heard anything. So, but anyway, I'll be on for one more minute. See if anybody got anything to say. But I appreciate everybody that came through. Peace and the best. Um, Stay safe, stay warm, stay cool. Load up the questions for tomorrow. Um, like to stay on topics. Don't want to be vulgar, don't want anything derogatory. So, anybody got anything, feel free. But I want to keep it as classy as I can. Understandable. So, anyway, glad everyone came through. Um, Please share, connect, and spread the word and welcome all newbies to it. And anytime people want to come through and they want to chop it up, feel free. Um, Again, I have no limits about what I discuss on here as long as it's, I want to be a fair and balanced. I don't want to be, I don't like to be derogatory. And I do like to keep it classy. So, but feel free to, ask questions and we can talk. But till next time I catch you. Peace the best amount. Have a good one.